The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Lowe's Moore. And again, you guys know this. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited every week to join you guys on the Blueprint Podcast. I don't know. Somebody stole my my pebble or my seed, my little basketball that I drop in the pond. Right, I'm dropping it. It's invisible, but I'm gonna drop it in the pond right now. We're expecting the ripple effect of this show. Right, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a good time tonight. And I want to say up front, thank you for your support of the Blueprint Podcast each and every week. Man, remember that it's on Lowe's More the Blueprint on Facebook, Lowe's More the Blueprint on YouTube, and streaming. Right, I'm streaming live also, PNN, the Phoenix National Network, and Roku, and the Fire TV stick. Right now, if you don't have Facebook or YouTube, you can find us on there. And I want to say again, thank you to my good friend Philip Reed, because he's the owner of the PNN and doing a tremendous job building the network. And so I'm really excited. Of course, I'm a basketball player. So we're in the height of the NBA first round of the playoffs, right? Right now, I don't have any skin in the game right now. I like a lot of teams, and there's some teams I might want to win, especially the New York Knicks, because they haven't won in like 40, 50 years. So I'm not mad if the New York Knicks ends up winning the NBA championship. I'll be just excited. Hey, you know what I might do?
What you do?
Because, man, when I was in sixth grade, man, I know I'm telling my age. When I was in the sixth grade, the New York Knicks won the NBA championship, right? And I watched the parade going down 34th Street, right, in black and white, right? I was too little to go down to it. But anyway, if they won an NBA championship, you know what I do? I go to the parade. I'll be down there. 40, 50 years, I'll be down there.
By yourself.
Oh man! So
I watch you on TV. Just wave. I put you on the Blueprint.
Yeah. So anyway, I haven't done this in a minute, but I wanted to get a little just a little personal thing, right? I don't watch a whole lot of NFL draft. I usually watch the beginning of the NFL draft, and I don't really know anybody, in the draft. Maybe back in the day I knew a few people, but Shedeur Sanders, right? And I'm sure everybody's all over the network, but I want to come from a different perspective. I want to come from the perspective of you're sitting there waiting for the draft, right? You're waiting for your name to be called, and this is personal to me, because I was really hurt for him, sitting there knowing that you've been real productive, and you've had success at different levels. First of all, he was successful at historically black college. He was a successful quarterback there. He goes over with his dad over to Colorado, and 2 years, he's putting up tremendous numbers where they project him at completion, so forth and so on. And he's sitting there waiting for his name to be called. I think his name should have been called real early. But I want to make this a little more personal, because I was sitting in California when I graduated from high school, West Virginia University, and I was sitting there waiting for the NBA draft. And I was sitting there waiting. at my my agent's house in California, and we going through the first round, and I'm not drafted. We go to the second round, and I'm not drafted, and then eventually I get drafted in the third round. I believed I was a first round draft pick, and then I found out that many of the GMs were looking for information from. I found out from my agent that, through a conflict, right? I was at what I chose to go to West Virginia. So my first 2 years, I did extremely well. I was an All-American as a sophomore, and then we got a new coach, right? And I wasn't a bad guy. I had good character and all those things. I played decently over my last 2 years and was projected to possibly be a first-round draft pick. And when every GM was trying to get some information on me, the school wouldn't release it. So none of the GMs got any of the information, even though they see me play for 4 years. But it comes down to the draft thing. Everybody's looking, you're like in a microscope, and you're looking for, everything that would make me a good pro, not make me a good pro, so forth and so on. And all the data on me, they never received. And so I'm sitting there waiting for my name. And you when you think that you're going to be a top draft pick, and then names are getting called, and your name doesn't get called. I mean, I was feeling for Shador, right? Because I was sitting there that day waiting for my name to be called, and eventually I got drafted by the New Jersey Nets in the beginning of the third round. But I felt for him from that perspective, because he spent, as a young kid, he's worked hard in a game of football, and then, goes on to college, and he's doing well, and then he's projected to be in a certain place, and then you're sitting there. What we fail to realize, or maybe we forgot, or we just don't care. He's a young man. I mean, this guy is young. He's in his 21 years old, man. He is a baby, and he's sitting there, man. I mean, in a dream position. I've been dreaming for this for a long time. I seen my father do it. I seen other people that I admire do it, and I'm sitting there waiting, and my name doesn't get called, man. I just think that was a tough, for me personally, that was tough to deal with.
Well, he just has to show them who he really is.
Yeah, I mean, but see, a lot of people got drafted that doesn't have to show it, because where you get drafted at determines what salary level you're going to be at, what guarantees are available to you, right? And so I went from a guaranteed situation, as a first rounder, and then I'm going in the third round with no guarantee, and I got to make a team that I should have made. Right, that my potential, my performance, right, has shown that I'm capable of being a high level draft pick, where my stuff is guaranteed, and now it's not. Now I'm over there competing with 5 other people, right? When I shouldn't have had to do it, right? I could see a guy who did not perform well, and he ended up there. Now it's a pleasure to get that opportunity to move forward and go over there and compete for a position, right? And he was not awarded the privilege of his performance over the last 4 years, right, to be in a place where he should be guaranteed, and he's not.
Understood.
All right, so, but that's my opinion.
You coming off your soapbox?
Yeah, I'm off my soapbox now, but no, I was just feeling some kind of way. I almost got really teary-eyed over that situation, and looking at him on the social media things, and he's just there waiting, right? And I was like, man, I was thinking about that day, man. I felt bad, So let me jump over to another situation. With this, we're celebrating, and we're making awareness of autism, right? Awareness Month.
Yes.
And of course we have a number of individuals that we know, right, and some godchildren that are on the spectrum. Yeah. And so this is near, and we also our youngest son is special needs. Young man who's doing extremely well.
Yes.
Right, and then all of our godsons, on some form of the spectrum,
Well, just
are
two.
doing extremely well.
Yeah. Yes. Our
Right?
two. Yes.
Yes, they're doing extremely well, and so we 100% in terms of we should be aware of the importance to support and accept Autism Awareness Month. I want to show this video real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got to show this video in honor of Autism Awareness and Acceptance.
That's the one I sent you earlier today.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, great.
Totally blind and live with autism. I do not let these things limit me.
It really bothers me that people prejudge one another. My gym teacher once said, "What am I going to do with him?" Thinking a blind student couldn't participate in gym class. How different would it be if everyone chose to see with their heart? Think about that for a second. I shouldn't be standing here today. I was born at just 26 weeks, weighing only 1 pound 12 ounces, testing positive for cocaine, with an eye condition that would soon take my sight, all because my biological mother abused cocaine and other drugs throughout her pregnancy. I shouldn't be here, but I am.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, everybody. My blindness does not limit me. I just do things differently. It enables me to see people for who they really are rather than what they look like on the outside. I see no skin color. I see no tattoos or crazy hairdos. However, I see with my heart.
How much more successful would your business be if you were to see with your heart? What is stopping you from giving someone a chance? Think of one person right now. Are they different from you? Do your personalities clash? Do they annoy you? Well, get over it, people. Give them a chance, or a second chance, or even a third chance. One, believe that you can. Two, give someone a chance. And three, take action now.
I want to hear all that you've done for me. Remember to say hello to the people you meet. See them with the eyes of your heart and watch what happens. Thank you.
Awesome. Chris is awesome. Right.
Chris Duffley. Now, today's service I showed him singing. He sings a song, and I'll come up on just real quick. He sings a song, "Open the Eyes of My Heart," and it just made everybody just cry. But he's now 24 years old, or 23 going on 24 if he's not just 24. But what a message. And why this impacts me is because we also have a niece, right, who's blind and has some, is nonverbal pretty much. I mean, has some verbal challenges. And so this kind of like hit me really good, So when I saw the miracle that he is, it was just really impressive to me. So I hope anybody's, with autism, family members are encouraged again, we have the book, right, that I did years ago, Finding My Roar, what I did for my godchildren. And so it is really important. So, I love Chris Duffley. So you're going to always hear that every year. We're going to have this show. I'm going to find another video of Chris and let him do his thing. Maybe, just maybe by chance, we could get Chris on the show one day.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
that would be cool.
Yeah, we should work on that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome. Yeah. So hey, make sure you support Autism Acceptance and Awareness Month. Every
April.
Every April. But look, just like Black History Month, right? Don't wait for the month. It's all year long.
That's right.
Just like when we celebrate in February, right? We did the Love Revolution.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get people to do acts of kindness every single day. It's not just for February. It's 365 days out of the year. Every day you should strive to do something, some act of kindness every single day. We challenge you in 2025 to do an act of kindness every single day. Right? And so let's get rolling.
Let's get rolling.
I got my book of the week.
Come on now.
So the book of the week is Own the Arena.
Ooh,
Katrina Adams.
there's some power in that book.
Yeah. I didn't get it yet, but I will get it. I'm a book guy. So
It'll be sitting right up here in our little bookshelf.
yeah, we'll put up all our books up there,
Right.
and then the word
Oh, okay.
of the week is called Own. Right.
And that's not
Own
that's
the
not
arena.
Oprah. That's not Oprah Winfrey Network.
Hey, it could be. Hey, Oprah Winfrey. Hey, she's owning. In terms
she's
of
owning
the media world,
Yeah.
she is owned,
Yeah.
right? But the word "own,"
Yes.
right? You got to take ownership of everything you put your hands to,
Yeah.
right? You got to own it. You got to grab it and possess it, right? That's my word of the week, and here's my affirmation, my Pierce Harper affirmation moment. It says, "Find success on your own terms."
Define.
Excuse me. Define success on your own terms. Achieve it by your own rules, and build a life you'll be proud to live.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my affirmation moment. And then, yeah, you probably can't see that. My music of the week, "Come Into This House." I was having a moment, man, when I was coming back from the King Movement Summit.
We have come into this house to worship Him.
Yeah, come into this house to worship. I mean, it's just been on for a month now. It's just been in my heart. Come into this house. Hey, you can worship the Lord anywhere, but when I wake up in the morning, I want the Lord to be in this house. And it's a tune that's in my head, just in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, just in my head, and I want to sing it. Come into this house.
Sure. We have come into the Lord's house to.
No, not
that one. Oh, okay.
Right.
We have come into this house, magnify His name and worship Him.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
one.
that's the one. That's the
Okay.
one. That's my music of the week. And then here's my movie of the week: Will Smith in King Richards. Yeah, I like that. I like that movie a lot. And we're gonna talk a lot about tennis today. So
Oh yeah. So that would be perfect.
And then here's my
person of the week.
person of the week: Althea Gibson.
Ooh.
I don't know if you remember. I think Denzel Washington, one of his first movies was the Althea Gibson story, right? Was it? No, it was what's the other one?
He did the
She had-
doctor.
Yeah, he did the story with the young lady that ran track. He played her boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Is
I
it
don't
Wilma
remember.
Rudolph?
Yes.
Wilma Rudolph. Yeah, she ran track, but Althea Gibson is amazing. I think I got a little video real quick.
Althea?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got. See what we got, buddy. Yes.
Yeah.
When you look back as to what those pioneers provided for us in breaking the barrier, Althea Gibson. If there was no Althea, there'd be no me. And if there was no me, there'd be no anybody in between with Venus, Serena, Zena, Lori, Leslie. And the list goes on. And so, yeah, I owe a great debt of gratitude to someone like Althea Gibson, who fought for equality, who fought to play on the grand stage at Wimbledon, who fought to play on the grand stage of the US Open. Understanding what she went through and how she was ostracized, it's my duty and my responsibility to make sure that no one else feels that way or experiences that. Because we're in a different era, we're in a different world, and we have the opportunities to provide nothing but the best for anybody that wants to play this sport, no matter what you look like and what gender you are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before we move on and get into the interview tonight,
You got a couple of
we got a
shout-outs.
couple of birthdays, right? And we got to say happy birthday.
Okay, but let's see what we got.
All right. Oh, we got Sister Debbie. Happy birthday, Debbie. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
love
she
it.
keeps up. She stays with us. She stays on point with us.
Oh, and your sister.
My Maki Dada.
Yeah, you're my daughter. At 60 years old, right? You guys are good.
Ooh, don't be telling her. Boy,
Man.
you gonna get in trouble.
Happy birthday, Dee Dee. Happy birthday.
She shouted out her age. Luckily, she's out tonight, so she didn't hear that.
Yeah, she did hear it. She'll look back at it another time. But happy birthday, Dee Dee. We love you, man. It was awesome yesterday to surprise her with the dinner. It was just exciting. Good food too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Food was. Monica said the secret's out. So we have one more thing that you can put up, and that's, guess what?
Yeah, this is just a reminder. Our son Lowe's the third is performing in the national tour, Broadway tour of Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Time of the Temptations. They're in Dallas, Texas. If you know anybody in the area, hey, shoot this information out. Go to Ain't Too Proud, the website, the tour schedule, and check them out. And
Tonight they're actually in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but it's their last show in Albuquerque, and he'll be in Dallas for his birthday.
yes, he will, and my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, his birthday is Sunday. Yours is Monday.
Mine is Monday. Yeah, but the whole weekend is mine.
Yeah.
The whole weekend is mine. So let me show you this video, and then we'll get right into the show here.
All righty, here we go. First, yep.
I was born and raised in Chicago on West Garfield Park. Humble beginnings. Grew up in a middle-class family. My parents were teachers. And I stumbled upon the sport of tennis. The summer of 1975, the boys went off to be in this tennis program. And, I begged to be in the program, and I got permission. Into the summer, I was the most improved player. I got a trophy, and I was hooked.
In high school, she definitely excelled. I've always been upset and a bit jealous because she won in our senior year, most athletic. So I always joke about that, but I was very, very proud of her.
Got a college scholarship to Northwestern University. Went on to win Big Ten championship. I was All-American, I think my freshman and sophomore year. I was a Rookie of the Year nationwide. And then I won the NCAA doubles championship with Diane Donnelly in my sophomore year. My ranking went up, got directly into the Australian Open in January, and then I played for 12 years on the tour. So I did really well.
Her passion was for the game and the values that it instilled in her that she wants to instill in future generations of kids. She's shown that throughout her career, what a great teammate she is and how she works to help other people better.
Later in my career, I was traveling without a coach. And so my doubles partners and I were coaching one another and training one another. And so I had that mindset of being that coach. So when I was thinking about retiring, I started thinking about becoming a coach because I was already doing it. It felt like I was doing a pretty good job already on the professional career, but it's not easy. Just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're a great coach.
Watching her progress as she grew in the WTA and was able to utilize her leadership skills and holding offices in the WTA while still being a player, then moving forward into her coaching role when she was a coach through the USTA, and now being the executive director. Everything that she's done has been a combination of leadership and reaching back.
The one thing I love about the sport of tennis is that the skills that you learn prepares you for life. Being on the court, to coming in an office environment and going out and executing the game plan. Everything that I did or I'm doing, I think I've gotten it from being a champion in tennis.
I knew she could write a book. I knew her stories would really change people's lives, and certainly Chicago, because everyone needs to understand that they can, do great things even if they're from neighborhoods that are not as being valued as others in the world or in the United States.
The title was Own the Arena, Making a Difference, Getting Ahead, and Succeeding as the Only One. It's about really understanding how to own your space, own your arena, but make sure you're pulling those behind you, because I may be the first to have done a lot of things, but it's my obligation to make sure that I'm not the last. I'm about helping kids. I want to put brackets in kids' hands and give them the opportunity to be successful in life. I grew up in an NJTL chapter in Chicago, Youth Action. It was a pilot program back in 1976. So that's my way of giving back through the sport of tennis. For me, it's about making a difference and knowing that I've done something right, and knowing that I've given everything. I've definitely given everything to our sport, that's for sure.
Kat, congratulations on being inducted into the USPTA Hall of Fame. Once again, you never cease to amaze me. I am so proud of you.
Not only am I proud of you, the Wildcats globally are proud of you, and Chicago is proud of you. So thank you for that example, and we can't wait to see what's next.
Your leadership as a player, a coach, an executive director, chairman, CEO, president, and in life has just been extraordinary and exemplary.
To be a Hall of Famer at the USPTA is the greatest honor. To be recognized by your peers. I'm very grateful. I'm humbled by it. So thank you to the USPTA and everyone involved. This is truly an honor for me. Thank you.
Wow, let's welcome the Hall of Famer,
Whoop, whoop.
Katrina Adams, to the Blueprint Podcast.
Hello. We're gonna go.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
That's a nice welcome.
Yeah, that's exciting. Man, let's get rolling here. You know what? While that was going on, right? I was thinking about some things, particularly back in the day. I can't even remember the person who wrote the book, but they were talking about how, back in the day, why we didn't, in these individual sports like golf and tennis, we considered to be very expensive sports, right? And a lot of times we couldn't. It used to talk about how we couldn't afford individualized coaching, right? And so this is going back now. So if you didn't have somebody who could coach you, and if you couldn't afford to pay for somebody to coach you, and to think based on what was shared in the Hall of Fame video, right? And you think about the USTA, how that becomes that kind of coach for you. I mean, talk a little bit about that experience of, you wouldn't just own some tennis rackets and just walked out there. right? Or just, hey, let's go to the tennis court and we just play. But you were actually in a program, and how important that program is and was to you.
Yeah, no, I mean it all depends on where you grow up and who you are around, and the opportunities. So I think where I grew up in the west side of Chicago. I grew up near a park, so I had access to free courts in the Park District right there in Garfield Park, and I had access to coaches that cared and gave their time, and it wasn't about making money. They loved playing themselves, they loved giving back, and they loved working with kids. And that's actually how I got started. I got started in a free program, and one of the coaches or a couple coaches actually thought I had potential and gave their time to me, and that's how it started. And I went from one program to the next program that was free, and I think the coaches, kind of worked with my parents and gave free time, and maybe my parents paid a little bit to them, but it wasn't a lot. And so, it's all about the individual and the character of those coaches that really want to help these players. And like I mentioned in the video, I started in a pilot program of an NJTL. I run and operate an NJTL chapter in the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program, which is a no to low cost program in New York City in Harlem. And so we are about introducing the sport, and exposing kids to, I think, one of the greatest sports in the world. It can be a free sport to many, but when you talk about developing and wanting to go on to compete and be that champion player, that's where the cost comes in, because you do need extra time on the court. You do need to start playing tournaments. You do need to travel. And that's where the expenses come in tennis. But if you're just trying to play and learn the sport and be a recreational player and somewhat competitive, yeah, you can play for virtually no to low cost. But in any sport, whether it's basketball and you start to play on a travel team, as you know, you're going to start to pay something, or any other sport that's out there that appears to be free. There's always some cost behind it.
Right. And yeah, that's called the investment.
Exactly.
Because when
Investment in developing any champion, it's going to cost you something.
yeah, I don't know that you can. Yeah, the free is good, but I mean every situation that I tried to do free, man, a lot of people didn't even show up, right?
Correct.
And I
You have to invest the time
right,
and
and I
skills.
yeah, and it's interesting that you would say that because you mentioned earlier before the show you were talking about the boys and girls club and its program, and of course for many years at the boys and girls club here in Mount Vernon, we had the USTA junior USTA program every summer, and
Hmm.
and 30 or more kids participated every week, twice a week throughout the summer. And I'd sit there, and even the coaches, I love the coaches because they just were passionate, because some of the tennis courts are not under shady trees, right? You in the sun, and
Oh
so
yeah.
and so they out there passionately working with the kids, and between the coaches and myself, we could see potential, right? And then we would say after a few weeks, we would say to the parents when they picked up their kids, your son or daughter has a lot of potential, and
Absolutely.
and this is what the USTA wants to do, right, for your child, right? In the beginning, it's like we're gonna get you to the courts, particularly during the fall and winter time. We want to get them there, and we have some resources to get them there, right? But then after a while, you got you got to make the investment to bring them to the club where they can get picked up.
Absolutely. So the USC Foundation supports these NJTL chapters across the country. There are, over 250 chapters that are around the country, and they're providing grants to many of these organizations to make sure that these kids are developing and they have an opportunity to have the resources in in all of these chapters. But like you said, it takes more resources for these organizations to develop them to the next level. And it takes collaboration with the parents as well to help these programs get the skills or get the opportunities for these players to compete on the next level. So the programs can only do so much. They can only raise so much money. I mean, I'm out there day in and day out, raising money for our programs because we are tennis, education, and wellness. So we're not only developing them on the court, but we're assisting them off the court, in the classroom, socio emotional, learning as well, mental health, our physical fitness. We're providing tutoring, college readiness, SAT, ACT prep, everything that we can do to provide opportunities for our kids to be ready to graduate from high school and go to college, if that's the pathway that they choose, and that takes resources. And so, but we need the parents to help us. They need to buy into this as well, and for them to play these tournaments because we want them to get a college scholarship. So, in order for them to be seen by their coaches, they also need to be out there playing tournaments. And we can only support them so much by helping them with entry fees to play in the tournaments, right? And in order for them to perform in these tournaments, they also need private lessons outside of their programming hours. And so it takes a village. It truly takes a village between our program, our coaches, and the parents collectively to be able to provide the best opportunities for these kids to have the best opportunities.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you kept saying about, we're talking about parents, the importance of parents and the investment. So talk a little bit about, because you're an example of, and particularly your parents are an example of the investment that they made. So talk about your parents, and talk about what they instilled in you in regards to the importance and power of family, the importance of education, and maybe the importance of faith that goes with
Well,
it.
absolutely. So my parents were teachers. Both of them were teachers. So, income was not very high. And when you're a child, you don't know the value of money and what they had and what they didn't. And my brothers were 6 and 8 years older. So imagine me in the prime of my junior competitive career when my brothers were going into college. So, I'm going around the country playing national tournaments, and I don't know how much stuff costs or doesn't cost. How are my parents paying for me to go? Well, because they had a village that was supporting them unbeknownst to me. They had coaches that were giving me free lessons. They had people that were driving me to tournaments. I was being supported by the USTA on national teams. I was on club teams. I was being supported by so many different people that I had no idea. I had sponsors that I didn't even know that were sponsoring me. So I had a village that was supporting me, and I had no idea. I just thought my parents were paying for everything, right? So, and that was a silent, a silent paycheck that was coming in, and my parents were just chipping away and saving and doing everything that was necessary to to help me follow a dream because I was good. I had a dream and I was doing well in school. It was all about school. If I didn't have the good grades, I wasn't going, definitely wasn't going to practice. So, I was getting up, I was going to class, I was getting my grades, I was going to practice, I was doing my homework, coming in, eating, finishing my homework, going to sleep, and starting all over again. So, but that's because I wanted it. My parents knew nothing about tennis. They didn't know where it was going to go, but everyone was telling them and me that I could get a college scholarship.
And lo and behold, I did. I was very fortunate. I won my high school state championship my junior and senior year at Whitney Young High School, one of the best, not only the top high school in Illinois, but one of the best high schools in the country. You might have heard of it too. Michelle Obama went
Of
there.
course.
Um,
Yes.
and
along,
just
along
but
with
boom, along with
along
just
with
thought I'd throw
Katrina
that out there.
Adams.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw
Right,
that out there. But it was an amazing opportunity, and then I went on to Northwestern, and was fortunate enough, as you heard in the video, played on tour. But I was just following my dream and my work ethic, and my parents instilled character. It's all about how, the character that I had. It was about faith. I went to church every Sunday. I went to school and I worked hard. And that carried on with me still to this day as to how I live my life and how I treat others. It's all about how you treat others.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's powerful, man. Just those three things that you mentioned, right, is very powerful. And they, well, we're on the blueprint, so that's a blueprint, right? If you want to be successful,
It's nugget.
those are nuggets. You're dropping dimes, right? And if you have parents that are out here, listening to the blueprint, they're going to be parents that are listening. People are going to be listening to the Blueprint podcast. Some are listening tonight. Some are going to be listening. It stays on forever between YouTube and Facebook. They're going to come on and they're going to hear these things. They're always wondering, what can motivate my kid? What can I say, and then what can others say, or what can I show them, or what can they hear from someplace else that might motivate them to go on and find success like you have. And so thank you for that. I mean, thank you for sharing that as well. And again, I want you to emphasize the work, because I don't think, people just say, oh, work, because we're dealing with different athletes today, right? If you're trying to tell them, yeah, I ran these many suicides on the tennis court. I remember these side to sides that I was running, or I did all these drills, and most people
And I hated
say,
those.
right, and none of us liked it. I mean, I didn't like any suicide running, any miles running, any sprints. I didn't like any of those things. But what I seen, the rewards of them, because you talk about work, because you can't go anywhere or do anything without work, right? You got to work.
No, hard work and perseverance. And listen, I'll be the first to say, early on, I tried to duck out of running whenever possible, but it caught up to me. Let me tell you something. I'd show up late and I'd leave early. But my coaches knew where I was hiding, and they would find me, and then I would have to do extra. And then I was like, you know what? This is not worth it. The extra is just not worth it. Just do it. And then the rewards of doing it got me more wins. I was playing better. I was lasting longer. The endurance and the strength was showing up. I was feeling better. And I was like, oh, this is what they're trying to get me to do. But yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, I was tired early, but I'm feeling better now. But yeah, I mean, I laugh at our kids that we got some kids that are ducking down to the bathroom. They always got to go to the bathroom. I was like, I was you. I know, I know that. You can't fool me. But yeah, I mean, it's so important to understand that you have to work hard. And those of us who, and I was very talented. I was athletic. I was very talented. The more talented you are, the easier it is, and the less you want to work. But you have to work twice as hard when you're that talented, because it's too easy for you, and you have to put in more work. Um, and you'll see those that if you and you look at tennis, you look at someone like on the male side, like a Roger Federer, you never see him working, because he does all the work in his practice, in his training. That's where all the hard work is done, right? Because he's just so fluid, because he's doing all that hard work.
You look at the athleticism of someone like a Serena Williams, you don't see how hard she's working in practice. She's putting in so much hard work. And a Coco Golf, all that hard work is being done in the practices before the tournament. You got to put the work in to get the results. But our kids think they're so talented that they can just go out there and win. Yeah, you can do that for a couple weeks, but you can't do that week in and week out. And so no matter what sport you're in, you have to put the work in. And I think it's so important when you're watching in the NBA right now, you're watching the playoffs and you listen to the LeBrons and the Jason Tatums, and they talk about the after the games going out and shooting, another 1,000 shots because they've got to perfect it. They've got to go out and get that rhythm. That's hard work. Whereas the other cats, they're going to shower, they're getting their training, and they're not doing that. The champions always rise and put the extra work in, and so you got to keep working.
Yeah, I remember because I played for Phil Jackson back when I was with the Nets. He was my assistant coach, and then when I was in the CBA, he was my head coach for like 2 or 3 years, and so I remember Phil had Michael Jordan, and I remember he showed up at the Boston Garden like 3 or 4 hours before the game, and Jordan was complaining. I mean, of course, Jordan loved the work. He was a hard worker, right? But when they got there 4 hours before the game, there was Larry Bird shooting, and Phil wanted Michael to see Larry, right? If you want to be great like Larry, right, you got to do what Larry's doing. And from that point on, Michael was showing up 4 hours before the game, right?
Right.
Like LeBron James at 40 years old shows up 5 hours to prepare for the day's game, right? You got
Putting
to
the work
put,
in.
you got to put the work in. I mean, and for me, my coach, my Boys and Girls Club coach, and he knew I wanted to play professional basketball. I talked about it all the time, and he was a big Boston Celtics fan. And so he brought me in one day, man. He said, "I know you want to play pro ball." He said, "But you got to put in the work." He asked me if I would come, if would I come tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and meet him at the boys club to work. I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, if I call you like 11 o'clock at night and your mom approved it and you come to Boys and Girls, would you come at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "The same thing that you do to be a great basketball player is the same thing that you do to be a good student." Right? And he said, you got to work, because just being, like you said, being a great athlete, but I still had to work in the classroom, right? And I had to put in the work on my attitude, right, and my character. So we can't get past the work. I don't. I'm gonna say this to everybody. No matter what you're doing, you can't bypass the work. And most of our generation today is trying to bypass the work, and they will just give up. They will just say, "No, I'm not gonna do that because I'm not gonna put in the work." So wow. But talk about what that experience was to become, to go to college and have and just be great. I mean, because there's a difference between the transition from high school being good in high school, being great in high school, and then going to college. Was it a smooth transition?
My mom always said I was made different, and that I was here before. I just kind of went with the flow. I think for me, I never really looked at any transition as anything different, but then other than me just moving from one day to the next. Tennis is very different. It's like from one competition to the next. And so I always looked at each match as another match, and each tournament was another tournament. So me moving from high school tennis to college tennis, you're kind of moving with the same group of players because we're in the same age group. We're just in a different environment.
And so now from high school to college, I'm on a team, but I am playing against some different players because now some of the players are a lot older because we're not just in the same age group. Because I'm a freshman and I'm now playing against some seniors. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't play them. We're not in the same age group. And I was young. I graduated from high school at 16. So
Wow.
I was 17 as a freshman, but now I'm playing some 20-year-olds or maybe 21-year-olds if I'm playing a senior because I did play, I went into college playing the number one position. But I didn't care who I played because I went in thinking I was a badass. So, um, it didn't matter who I played. And, I was rookie of the year in my freshman year. And I had great teammates, great coach. And, I just felt that it didn't matter who I was playing, that I was going to win. And I had a solid first year as a freshman. I was always great in doubles. My partner and I did really well in doubles our first year. We lost in the semifinals of the NCAA's, like 7-6 in a third. So we knew we felt that we should have won it that year. We didn't. We came back, went undefeated our second year, and won the championship. And it was halfway through that second year that I knew I was going to turn pro. Um, and so I had a conversation with my coach and our athletic director, assistant athletic director at the school, and said, "Listen, I think I want to turn pro." But we were on quarters. And so I said, "Listen, I want to take my first quarter off in my junior year, play as an amateur, meaning I'll not take the prize money because I'm not sure if I want to do this full time. I'm used to playing week in and week out during the summer, but to do this through the fall and keep going, I just don't know if I'm cut out for it, and I don't know if I'm going to do well. If I don't, I'll come back, keep my scholarship, in January, and we'll never have this conversation again. But if I do, I'll turn pro in January, give your scholarship, and I'm off and running." And I did really well. I was top 100, turned pro, and played on tour for 12 years. So, so me making that transition was very easy. Yeah, I had great friends in college. I had a great support team of friends. Three of them were on that video that you saw: Wendy, Lori, and Lauren. And it was just smooth sailing for me. I was very lucky.
Yeah. And we talked about the you know the the work you have to put in as a student, as a student athlete, right? The education side of it. Well, we talked about how hard you have to work physically, the physical aspect of it. Talk about the mental, the mental uh, power that you have to have in order to do what you did. I mean, in terms of being, because not everybody's a dog in the house. Not everybody's great, right? And there's a lot of people that don't really want to put in the work to be great. But think at each level, think about what it would take mentally, from high school to college to the pros. What's the because you're talking about you're singles, you just playing tournaments, and man, you got to get tired. I mean, you're working, you playing all these tournaments, playing all these people, and in order to get to your next level, what's the mental strength that you have to have?
Yeah, I would say that's the most challenging part as a student athlete and then as a professional, because now you're trying to balance a lot. As a student athlete going into college, you're trying to balance being a student, an athlete, and then social, right? You're trying to get friends and be normal. And I would say that was probably the most challenging for me because I'm a social person. And I like to have friends. And so, your freshman year, of course, is always challenging. You're away from home. You're trying to be independent. And you're trying to figure out how to hang out late, but yet you've got to get up early, go to class, study, etc.
So I struggled a little bit early on, and then you get a slap in the face when you get those midterm grades, and you're like, and your parents are teachers,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, let me turn this around, let me figure this out real quick. And you do, so you get back on track and you recover. And so that was the first part, just figuring that out with grades. But socially, you say, okay, I can't be hanging out late, unless I'm up late studying. So that was the most challenging part. I was not suffering so much athletically. I was still winning, I was still performing, but I was starting to get tired. So I had to figure that out. And I was only getting tired because I wasn't eating right, and I was enjoying being a college student too much with my eating, and not drinking enough water.
You heard that?
If you
Water,
if
man.
you
Water,
if you
water.
if you know what I'm saying. So I was drinking, but not enough water. Let's put it that way. Um, so you have to figure things out early on when you move away from home and you're trying to be independent. Um, but it is challenging. And I think those are the things that you're talking to the young kids today when they're going off to school. But fast forward to being a professional, you go off and you're grown. You don't have anybody. You're the boss. You have a coach, but you're paying your coach. So you're the boss. They're not, they're not your
Yeah, yeah,
boss,
yeah.
right?
Right.
So they're telling you what to do. You hire them to tell you what to do, but at the end of the day, you're the boss. Long story short, it took me probably 9 months to figure out that I could not eat and drink the same way that I was coming out of college, being a professional. So again, there's a transition mode of figuring out what to do. Nowadays it's very different because these players have a full team around them before they're going off into the tour. And so, I didn't have that. I didn't have that kind of money to go out. And a lot of players don't now, but they just know things are different going out on tour as an individual sport. We're an individual sport. We're not a team sport. So you have to surround yourself with the right people that are guiding you and telling you what to do, when to do, and how to do it. But you have to be receptive of it.
Right.
I'm a Leo, so I'm really stubborn, and um, and so I like to do things my way. And yeah, so it just took me a while to to,
I have
to
no
figure
idea what
things
she's
out.
talking about. I have no
Yeah.
Oh,
idea what
you're a
she's
Leo.
talking
Oh,
about.
Miss Leo. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Um, so yeah, but life. I figured it out, and it's understanding how to be I became my own CEO very early on in life, through the sport of tennis, because I had to manage my own expectations, my own journey on and off the court, because I wasn't that top player where I had an agent, a manager, a nutritionist, a trainer, all of that. I had to figure that out. My dad was my manager, which was great. I did have an agent later on, but you just have to figure it out. And so as I started to transition into other professions, on the business side of things, I had great training.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because, you know, uh, we we're doing what we do for a long time, and then we get to this place whereas, you know, we're not going to be able to do this anymore. I mean, this is it. What's next? So, talk about the transition from the playing, as you were just talking about the business. Now I'm the CEO. Talk about that transition, and was it difficult?
Well, I think what happened for me were the opportunities that I had on tour to network with a lot of people. I was on our WTA Players Association board. And then I was on our WTA Tour board. So I was learning the business of the sport while I was playing, and meeting a lot of our important people, if you will. They were sponsors, they were tournament directors, a lot of business minded people, and I was having conversations along the way. When I immediately retired, I actually became a national coach and started working with some of our best juniors that were making the transition from juniors to the pros. So I was still traveling, but while I was traveling out on the road with them, I was still meeting a lot of corporate people. But my conversations with them were different because I wasn't just a player, I was a coach at that point. And so I was still having these great conversations and learning in a different capacity. And once I stopped coaching, I actually went into commentating. I studied communications in college, and I always wanted to be a commentator, and I had that opportunity. And so once I started commentating, again, I'm having different conversations with different, entrepreneurs and corporate people as well. And so different doors started to open. I by this time I joined the board of the USTA, and I started learning the business of the USTA in a different capacity than I ever knew before, because I only knew the USTA from being a player and playing the tournaments. And so that's when I started to open up my eyes in a different, just a different capacity, and started to open up my ears in a different way, and realized that tennis was a much bigger business than I ever realized.
Mm.
And I started to immerse myself into it in a different way, and started to peel back the layers of what our sport was. Shortly after that, I then became the executive director of Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program.
Mm.
So then I started to learn the sport in a different level, from the grassroots side of our sport. And so as I started to build that program to where it is today, with all of the different networking that I'd done throughout my career and the people that I got to meet, you can see we serve over 25,000 kids now. This program was founded in 1972. And so I've been there 19 years now. And so when I started, we were serving about 79 kids, and we're now serving almost 1,000 kids, over 800 kids, 175 registered kids in our program that are taking advantage of our tennis education and wellness components, and another 600 plus kids that we're serving out in the community and in our schools. Our coaches are actually going out into the schools during lunch hour or in the morning, and some of those schools are coming into our facility for an hour where we're exposing them to our sport. We have a big clinic that's coming up next Saturday, actually, at Riverbank State Park, Danny Farrell Riverbank State Park. We are expecting about 250 kids to show up for a clinic. So we're excited. I mean, we're doing great things in Harlem, but we're in the Armory. We're kind of outgrowing our space, and we're hoping to start a capital campaign. We've already started it, and hoping to build a new facility in the next 5 years so that we can expand the number of youth that we're serving in Harlem, and have more courts, indoor and outdoor, more classrooms, more office space for and more event space. So we're doing a lot of great things here in Harlem,
I love the
and excited.
multiculturalism you have. Quite a
Oh yeah,
quite a
we're
multicultural group.
yeah, we're very diverse, mostly African American and Hispanic, but very very diverse in the youth that we serve. Harlem is very diverse, but we are serving kids all over New York City.
Wow. We used to have a tennis pro in Mount Vernon. What was his name? Phil. What's Phil's name?
Williamson.
Williamson. Yeah. We used to live
Yeah,
right.
Phil came from the program.
Right.
Phil grew up in the program. He grew up in our program.
Yeah. He used to live right next door to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love Phil,
He
man.
went to high school with me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then we had the open tennis, Love 15, right?
Yeah.
We in Mount Vernon we had a bunch of tennis courts that they now put a bubble. They put a bubble over the tennis court. I was mad because we used to go out there and hit all the time. But yeah, tennis is a beautiful sport. I mean,
Very similar to golf. It's like one of those games you can play all your life.
oh yeah,
No, it
Yeah.
is. It's a sport for a lifetime,
Yeah.
and it's been proven that it adds almost 10 years to your lifespan if you play tennis. So it's a great sport.
Gina, what is your thought? Now, I'm really gonna go off the deep end here. What is your thought about pickleball?
Huh?
Pickleball.
Huh? No, just kidding.
Because everybody's been
I like
It's a
that.
great.
That was-
everybody's
Listen,
been kind of like trying to, yeah, like that's a big thing these days.
it's a great activity. It's getting people out. It's getting them, active. Any sport or activity that can get people outdoors and active. I'm all for it. It's another racket sport. They just need to build their own courts and stay off our tennis courts. That's all I have to say.
and before I forget, I was talking to and texting back and forth with Leon, and he told me I know he's a big tennis guy, and he told me, say, tell Katrina I said hello.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, he loved tennis, man.
Oh yeah, that's my guy. He shows up everywhere. Wherever there's tennis, he's there.
Yeah,
He'll probably
yeah,
be at our gala in a couple weeks as well.
yeah.
Yeah, talk about that gala.
Yeah, talk about the gala. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, so it'll be our 53rd anniversary. It will be Monday, May 12th at Ziegfeld Ballroom. Our honorees this year are Chris Evert, the great 18-time Grand Slam tournament champion, and Morgan Stanley. So it's 5:45 cocktails, 7 p.m. dinner, followed by dancing. And you can go to this website and get your tickets. We'll have a live auction that evening, a silent auction, which you can start to bid online at this website, or you can go to our program website at www.hjtep.org as well. So please go to this website to buy your tickets and support our gala. About 40% of our revenue comes from this gala to support our programs initiatives. So if you can't attend, please make a donation. You can purchase an ad. We need that ad though this week if you have the intentions of purchasing an ad. So Norm Lewis, the great vocal actor, Broadway singer, will be there. He's singing a couple songs for us. James Blake came from our program, and
yeah.
he's our ambassador for the year. Supports us, so please go to that link and support us.
Yeah, I know this fundraiser well. Being at the Boys and Girls Club, that's if you want to have good programs, you got to raise resources.
Absolutely.
And our events, our golf events, and our gala was big for us. As well as the individuals too, because individual giving is so important. I mean, finding partners is so important to our cause because it's not easy to raise money, right? Everybody said they want to help young people, right? But when you say I need resources, oh, hold on, wait. But
Yeah. And if
wanna
you just go to our website, you can learn so much more about the organization. And then you'll want to contribute to us because we're doing great things. It's like I said, it's been 53 years. And our kids are graduating from high school. They're going to amazing colleges, from the Ivy Leagues down to community colleges and everywhere in between. And it's because of people like you, Lowe's, who are supporting us, and all the other donors that are out there. So thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love this because we just had, was it last month or the month before last, we did the, what was the name of the chess program?
Project Porn.
Project Porn. That we had them on, and actually the father, one of my workers, his son is a grandmaster. He was a grandmaster at 13 in terms of chess. He started in the chess program, Project Pawn, and they just did a big thing in collaboration with the Yankees. They had their elementary school, middle school, high school chess tournament in Yankee Stadium, and I had them on the show. And then I said, look, let me know when you're going to do the project again, when you're going to have this big tournament. And I was able to go over to the Yankee Stadium to see hundreds of kids, right? And so there are so many wonderful things out there, like the Harlem Junior Tennis, the education program. We need to get our parents aware. They need to take advantage of it, right? And we need every one of them, and we need every one of them funded.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this has been awesome. Hey, who's that? I don't know who that is.
That's a lot of me.
Awesome. The great Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, I think I was, this was at an ATA event. I think I'm about maybe 12. That's my dad on the left and my mom on the right.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think
So
I have
he was a
another
great
family
guy.
picture up there.
Yeah, these are, this was at an event in Chicago, a USTA Foundation event. Two youngsters. This is when I was the president. This is when Sloane Stephens won the US Open, and Madison Keys on the left. She was the finalist. Friends of mine at the Wimbledon had traveled with me. And this is 2018 US Open when Naomi Osaka beat Serena Williams in the finals and Chris Evert in the middle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got some.
That had to be some wonderful experiences. US Open and Wilmington and all them. It got to be just amazing experiences.
Yeah. Some great ones.
Talk a little bit about Billie Jean King. I remember Billie Jean King, particularly Billie Jean King, way back.
No, Billie's amazing. She's been one of my mentors, obviously one of the founders of the WTA Tour. So, all players are indebted to her and the original 9 for stepping up and having that voice to fight for equality, for equal prize money at the US Open in particular in 1972, and starting the WTA Tour. But she's amazing. There's nothing in women's sports in particular that she hasn't had her hand on. She's been a great friend of mine, and someone I can always lean on and reach out to, just to get some advice whenever needed.
Wow, awesome. I think I got one more video here.
Okay.
We coming down to a close here.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I try to do my due diligence. My wife always say, the fish.
Do a good job, baby.
One thing I love about Harlem Junior Tennis is the community of high-performing athletes that we have here, the commitment to intensity, the commitment to get better, and the commitment to support each other all the way through.
It's always memorable whenever you see that click in the kids from when they start playing as beginners and then everything just is put together. So those are always, that's actually probably my inspiration why I keep doing this.
We still have our family vibe in here. Just kids are like my own children and I enjoy being with them every day.
I just think that the community aspect is great here, and the real true connection with the coaches.
I like the fact that it challenges me as a tennis player and helps me become the best tennis player I can.
We really are able to tap into our students and really see them as individuals and then build a program around them based off of what they need individually and holistically. My main goal is really helping students and families understand how much power they have.
Celebrate what we do here at Harlem Junior Tennis. Make sure you go to www.hjtep.org. Come do that right now.
Awesome.
So before you close out, I'd love to hear a little bit about your book.
Oh, great. Yeah. So Own the Arena, Getting Ahead, Making a Difference and Succeeding as the Only One, was published in 2021 by HarperCollins. It's kind of a memoir. It's something that really kind of follows my career from being a player through my success in business. Really pays homage to everyone that had a helping hand into getting me to where I am today. But it really has 12 winning match points. It has 12 chapters, and each chapter is dedicated to owning something. And I love the way you talked about at the top of the show about what the word own means. And so I think it's really important that everyone own something. And although there are 12 chapters and 12 messages of owning something, there's three that stand out for me. And I think that everyone should have ownership in owning their courage, because without that, you can't get ahead with anything. I think everyone should own their voice because you need to speak up and speak out for what it is that you want. And you need to own your identity and not be afraid of who you are and what you are, because you need to be able to move forward, and to be confident in all things. So hopefully, if you don't have your copy, you can go to Amazon or you can go to HarperCollins, or you can go to my website, katrinamadams.com, and click the button there and find opportunities and ways that you can purchase the book.
I'm gonna tell you, Katrina, since okay, I'm gonna do what I don't normally do, but I'm joining the podcast right now, right? Because no, I had to do this because listen. I've been listening to you, girl. The similarities between us is crazy. When I'm not the tennis, I don't know much about tennis, right? But like I said, Northwestern was a school that I loved, that I wanted to go to back in the day. I ended up at Fairfield, but Northwestern was one of the first ones that I got accepted to, and I ended up going to Fairfield because of the scholarship, and it was close to home, right? But you got that Leo thing. We both CEOs, and my book. Every book I always write is going to have 12 chapters, right? So you just threw me off the ledge when you said 12 chapters. I was like, yeah, that's my girl right there. I'm going all in on every one of them 12 chapters as soon as I can. That's why I put the link up there for myself.
I love it.
Oh, so you're going to get the book?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, don't forget.
I should have sent it to you guys before this, but this is great. Thank you so much.
No, this is awesome. Yeah. We hope that a bunch of people jump out there and get the book too as well.
I reached out to Lisa Copeland because Lisa Copeland shows up to every U.S. Open. So I said, Lisa, you have to get this. You have to pay attention to this show today because I know Lisa is she is at every U.S. Open. So, and I've never, we've never been to one.
Well, I've actually not been to actually see somebody play at the U.S. Open, but we brought kids through the USTA. I think we took 38 kids. I think you have a bunch of before the U.S. Open. There's a bunch of events that young people can go to. We brought a busload of kids down there to the events as well, so that they can have fun and learn more about tennis and experience what it's like. The atmosphere of the U.S. Open is crazy.
Yeah, well, make sure they come fan week. In week one, it's free. So many activities, so many matches, practice. They can see all the top players play. Mixed doubles is actually being played in week one this year, which is fan week. So please bring all the kids and everybody can come down and watch for
Lowe's
free.
and I were in we were in where Stanford is many years ago.
I was playing in the senior
Olympics. Yeah. And we were there and Serena was practicing and her father was sitting there and I think that both of them were practicing, right?
She was practicing against some guys and she was tearing them guys up. I felt bad for them guys.
It had to be like 10 years ago maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was awesome. Crazy, and I was like, everybody was like looking, and we just sat up right up in the stands. Nobody bothered us, and it was pretty cool. So I was like, wow.
Wasn't there? Awesome. I think I went to the other tennis event I went to was a point pilot or pin pilot. It's a tournament.
Pin pilot. That was in New Haven. In
New Haven, we went to it. A friend of mine and along we took Losey when he was playing tennis as well, and we went up there. It was so hot. I don't know how you guys do it. I mean,
and train for it.
We were sitting in the arena, and they said like it's 120 degrees down here on the court. We couldn't take it. We had to leave. Right?
I mean, your feet must be burning on that. What?
And know who played?
We're always moving.
I guess so.
He trained for it.
Sarah Povich was playing. And Martina was playing in the older division still.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, you know what? If people had the opportunity to choose, if we have young people watching this today, what would you say is the reason why they should choose tennis as a direction of a sport in life?
Oh, it's a great sport. One, it's a sport of a lifetime. But two, it's a social sport. You're meeting great people. 3, it's teaching you the life skills to be successful in life. It's teaching you great character. It's teaching you how to build your self-esteem, your self-confidence, how to be resilient. It's teaching you how to dream big. It's teaching you discipline. It's teaching you how to manage your time. It's teaching you everything you need to be successful in life, because those skill sets you're learning on the court are also the same skill sets you need to be successful in the classroom, and also what any employer is looking in a person that they want to hire. So I recommend tennis to any and every individual young person that is thinking about playing tennis.
Right. Who was that one? Earl of Pearl Monroe.
He was one of our founders of our organization. Yeah, he was a big supporter of our program.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember about tennis in high school, and even when our kids were in high school, is that tennis players and golf players, but the tennis players had the highest GPA. They were usually the people with the highest GPA in the school, and that's just not trying to be insulting to anyone else. It was just something about the fact that there was a cerebral mindset for them. Like they were thinking like strategically in so many different ways. And I just thought, one of the kids I remember Michelle went to high school with, and I think he ended up going to Harvard, and he was like the captain of the tennis team or something like that. So yeah, it was always it is definitely one of those sports. So that's why when our son said he wanted to play, I was like, okay. And actually, our nephew played. Our nephew won, our nephew Calvin won. So he played varsity tennis. They're now pickleball guys. That's why I asked you about pickleball. That's why I did ask you about pickleball. They are definitely pickleballers right now.
and when Losey's performing on cruise ships, he's always playing tennis too, as well.
Tennis and pickleball.
Tennis and pickleball. He loved tennis. He loved tennis a lot. And then I think what he liked about the pickleball when he was in California was the social aspect of it. Because he could go and he'd meet people, you know, he's waiting to get next, and everybody's rotating out. That's what I think he liked about it. And then there's a little slow of, he had me out there. I was like, I don't like this. This is, you know, I didn't like it. Really. I didn't like it. I like tennis better, but I can't do that either. But yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome,
Wow,
man. This has been great. I want to say thank you for, you know, taking your time out your busy schedule. I know you're busy and you got a big gala. I know what that's like when you're right there 2 weeks away from the gala, right? Finalizing everything, and you know, yeah. But keep up the great work. I mean, wow.
You said that those, you know, there was one picture we didn't show.
One picture?
Yeah. You said, because you mentioned it and I forgot to put it up.
Yeah, that was my family. Yeah. Thank you for that. That's a great way to show it, to end it. Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Thank you for supporting Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program, and thank you for supporting the sport of tennis.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, we love tennis. Yeah, I got one more picture though, one all the way to the end, babe. Yeah, because you had.
I'm afraid.
You had it on your website. Now you.
That one.
Oh, there you go. There you go, Mama Dukes.
Yeah.
May she rest in power.
That's right. And she did so many amazing things, right? We have to acknowledge, you know, her as well. And again, thank you for joining us this evening. And I'm about to close out, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who support the Blueprint podcast every single week. Thank you for joining us tonight. Man, you know I love you guys. I'm excited every time I come on the Blueprint to be able to share, you know, so many wonderful guests that have been on the show, man. They have been a blessing to me, and hopefully they've been a blessing to you. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Look, and I say this every week, if the Lord allowed you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.